Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dr. Emmet Emery Sr. You Better Stand Your Watch podcast. Today, I want to talk about you, the individual. I've been talking about a lot of things that pertain to the sickness, the illness, the mental health. Now, I want to talk about you, the individual. Today, the topic is going to be fight for who you are. Fight for who you are. I mean, if you know who you are, don't just give in and cave in to who someone else wants you to be. Fight for who you are. But before you can fight for who you are, you need to know who you are. So do you know who you are? Have you ever asked yourself that question? Who am I? What am I here for? What is my goals? What is my objective? What is my purpose? So, do you know who you are? Try these 3 things. First, engage in self-reflection. Take time to think about your life, your likes, your dislikes, and what brings you joy and fulfillment. Take that time. Think about that. If you got to write it down in a diary, I'm a big stickler on writing stuff down. I never say journal, but I need to start saying journal and stop saying diary. But whatever it is, write it down and hold on to it. And then go back to it. Write down all your likes. Write down all your dislikes and what brings you joy and fulfillment. Then identify your values and interests. Understand what drives you and what you're passionate about. What drives you? What's your passion? And ask yourself key questions, such as, what would you stand for if you knew nobody would judge you? A lot of time we grade ourselves, or we determine who we are based upon what another says, or how we'll be judged by others. Whether it be individual, whether it be family, whether it be spouse, whether it be kids, whether it be friends, whether it be community. How would I be judged? How are they judging me? I can't say this because they don't like that being said. I can't do this because they don't like it when they do this. Well, you got to think about it. What would you stand for if you knew nobody would judge you? Then you could be yourself. Then you really know who you are. So do you know who you are? And once you know who you are, then you need to fight for who you are. First, you need to fight to be happy. It is not always easy to find happiness. But when you do, it is something that should be cherished. Trying to keep others happy when you are miserable is not going to benefit you or that person. Finding and embracing your happiness requires saying no sometimes. And even being selfish sometimes. That benefits you. It also increases your happiness. Fight to be happy. You cannot be just this grumpy person or this miserable person or this acceptable person. Especially when you know who you are. When you know who you are, and then you settled based upon another opinion or judgment, you're unhappy. But you smile, had a smile on your face, you laugh and joke with folks on inside, you're miserable. You're unhappy. And then those will cause the mental illness. Those will cause the stress on you. Fight to be happy. That other person is going to be happy. The other person probably happy. So you need to be happy. Happy you is happy everybody else. And even if you're happy and everybody else not happy, at least you're happy. That's a longevity on your life. Fight to be happy. Make one decision to ensure your happiness. Cultivate warm relationship with friends and loved ones. Cultivate it. I know that's difficult for me to say because I stayed away from having friends. I might have had 1 or 2 in the military. I may have had 1 or 2 in college. Actually, I did the 2s, be honest with you. I had 2 growing up, close friends. That was Russell and Alfred. I had 2 in high school. That was Sylvester Blue. And I had 1 in high school. That's right. Man, that's sad. And then I had a couple in college. My buddy named Rico, a buddy named Kurt, and buddy named Bobby. He was from Maywood. We used to get on him all the time. So you had them. And in the military, I had a couple. But I was happy with that circle. And one of my closest friends, I come a little brother from the military, is Howard Mulligan. But those are the ones I let into the circle. I let Howard in a little bit closer than a lot of other military personnel, because we both shared the same interests deeply. And one thing we shared deeply was our love for God, our love for others, and our love for the ministry. And that would kept us closer. And that also allowed us to be good ambassadors to the recruits. I met them in RTC Great Lakes. I met them my 13th year of service. So what did that tell you? That the other military person I had was acquaintance, with the exception of Lucius Bagley and Fred Kersey. Them the guys I met. Lucius Bagley was my roommate in Iceland, and Fred Kersey is my boy in Iceland. And we just took it on throughout the year, throughout life. And these people I'm talking about, I know them for 30, 40, 50. Yeah, me and Russell have been buddies for 54 years. Myself and Alfred for 49 years. Sylvester Blue, 46 years. Man, wow. Let me move on. I'm getting a little bit teary-eyed here. Fight for who you are. Now, since you know who you are and you're fighting to be happy, let's practice gratitude. We still don't practice to be happy. We still don't fight to be happy. Next thing is fight for gratitude. Practice gratitude. Effect on happy moments and people you appreciate regularly. Reflect on them. Don't meditate on them. Just reflect on them. The people I named in my life, all the men that I named, I was thinking about happy moments as I was talking about their names. And I appreciate each and every one of them, because each and every one of them came into my life at a point when I needed that. And with friends that you have for that long period of time, it's moments when you don't communicate, then you come back and communicate, then you don't communicate, then you come back, communicate. And when you come back to communicate, that last time communication stays there. Last, will fight to be happy, be optimism. See the glass half full versus half empty. That's the difference. If you said a glass half empty, then you're thinking the glass almost empty. So your motivation is not going, desire is not going to be that important, because you know the glass is going to be empty. But if you think it's being half full, that means that it's halfway from being full. That means that you already used half of it. You got half left. It might be the same thing, half empty, half full. But if you think differently between full and less, then your happiness is better, because you're thinking happy things, not negative. Fight for love. Love yourself before you can love others. Love yourself. If you don't like yourself, how you gonna like somebody else? And then you got these young ladies having babies, and then they don't like the babies because they don't like themselves. And then when they find out who they are and then start liking themselves, then it might be too late, because they might have pushed that child away. Love yourself before you can love another. Show kindness to yourself. Acknowledge your emotional pain and focus on your personal strength and compassionate traits. So you acknowledge your pain. Okay, this is what hurts me. This is what pains me. But then you say, okay, my personal strength, this is my strength. This is my compassionate trait. So I'm going to focus on my strength, my compassionate trait. And they're going to overcome my pain, my emotional pain. And then as you focus on your personal strength and your compassionate traits, it helps you to fight for love for yourself. Feel the love within. Engage in loving kindness, meditation, and other practices that offer peace and positive affirmation. Your daily habit counts should consist of making self-care a priority in your life and not feel guilty about it. Go get your hair done. I got $50 for this month. To next payday. And my hair look bad. But it's going to cost $25 to get my hair done. They'll get my hair cut. And if I don't do it, then it'll be 4 weeks since I took care of my hair. No. Take care of your hair. Take care of yourself. If you love yourself and you're happy and you love your God and you're happy and you have faith and belief in your God yourself and you're happy, you know that $50 is going to be stretched. And it's going to be more than $50 to 2 weeks. And you're going to be saying, oh my God, what I get the other money for? What other money comes? Because of your faith and your belief, your love for yourself, and your love for another, and your love for God. Fight for change. This can be a tough one for those of us who don't like it, don't like change. But it's necessary sometimes to move forward. You get stuck. You get stagnant. Things around you change. Things around me change. I've been through several decades. Every decade is different. Whether it be the music be different, I got to change that style of music. Whether it be the dances be different, I got to change that style of dance. Even the language is different. I got to change to that style of language. Attitudes stay the same. It's going to be an asshole in each generation, in each decade. You just got to know how to deal with them. But if you love yourself and you know who you are, you adapt to that. So you're adapting as you go along. So you probably say, I don't like change, but you're adapting. Adapting through adaptation is dealing with change. So you can deal with change. I'm talking about you. I'm not talking about change at work. I'm talking about change in your life. Some of us don't like dealing with change. We like to do things the way they were. You catch some old friends saying, yeah, it's been 30 years since you've seen that person. That person said, you the same person you were 30 years ago. Someone told me that. You the same person you were 30 years ago? I said, well, goddamn. Either I have not changed, I have not accepted the growth that took place around me, or you haven't accepted the growth that took place around you. So if you have not accepted the growth and you still think I'm the same person, that means you think you're the same person. But then that change that you realize later when I open my mouth and say something, you're going to realize that you have not changed. Because if you're the same person you was 30 years ago, oh my God, I got a number to a good psychiatrist. You are changing continuously. If you're 40, you don't look like you did when you was 12. You change. You don't sound the way you did when you was 12. If you're a 50-year-old man and you sound like you did when you were 16, your voice still squeaking and changing, I'm going to leave that alone. I'll leave that alone. You hit the weight rules, take steroids, do something. Fight for change. Identify your readiness. Understand the personal change process and identify your readiness level. I mean, you got to do a little bit of history, a little bit of research on your historical data of yourself. It'd be real easy if you were writing stuff down. I mean, I was talking to a young lady and several young ladies, actually, and each one of them said they had diaries that they kept when they was younger. But someone else read their diary who they did not give their diary to. So whether it be brothers, or whether it be friends, or whether it be parents, or whether it be relatives, whoever, that's your personal life. I said life because you're writing down things in your diary that you're not sharing with anyone else, but you're writing down because this is important to you. Then you forget, or you get to feeling down, or you have emotional issues. You go back to your diary for uplifting, or you go back to your diary for research and history. So if someone is doing something to you now that they did later, you can go back and research and say, hey, this happened 5 years ago by the same person. So that keeps you distant from that person. But the individual get real upset if someone else looks into their diary, review their diary or their journal without permission. And then it kind of steer them away. And sometimes they just get away from writing and don't do it anymore. And then they got to try to remember things later in life and write it down. I did the same thing. Well, growing up in poverty in Chicago in the projects area, you lucky you had notebook, paper, and a pen. Talking about a diary. And where are you going to keep it? You're in an apartment with 9 or 8 other kids. And you're sleeping 3, 4, 2 to a bed. Where are you going to keep it? But now, like I said, generation changes. 10 years later, you're at the place, you're not that many people in the household. Another 10 years later, the focus is getting homes and then condos. And 10 years later, and the community's a little bit more spread. The ability to get homes was a little bit more different. So you change. I still should have kept that journal then, but I didn't. But 20 years later, as long as I keep it, it's good. So don't feel bad if you didn't keep it back then. Start it now. Start it now. Once you start writing, you're going to remember back then. And then you're going to continue to write, continue to write, continue to write. Don't show nobody your journal yet. Don't even share your journal yet. That's still a personal part of you. And as long as you can keep that journal away from everyone until it's time to reveal it, it's going to make you happy. Fight for who you are. Set personal goals. Define what you want to change and set realistic, specific goals. Don't say, I'm putting in my diary, I expect to be a billionaire in 5 years. And you working paycheck to paycheck at the time you're making that entry. How that going to happen? Who you plan on marrying? You might be a millionaire. You could be successful. I'm not saying you can't be successful, be a millionaire within 5 years. But if you feel that you're in a situation at that point where it's going to take you steps to get to steps, to get to steps, to get to steps, don't jump the steps to get to the roof. Make realistic goals, attainable goals. That way, it keeps you happy. And it gives you a better understanding of who you are. Make realistic goals, then who are you? And don't make goals based upon someone else's ideas of who you are. Don't make goals based upon someone else's judgment of who you are. Your goals and objectives should be based upon your beliefs, upon your values, upon what your vision was, not theirs. They said some kids, including me, you go through high school and you go through college and then you get to college, you have a major and then you change your major 3 or 4 times while you're in college and then you graduate from college and you don't want to work in the field you got a degree in. Why is that? Because you listen to someone else. Oh, Tyrone is going to be a doctor. Or Tyrone is going to be a pharmacist. Or Tyrone is going to be a executive, CEO. So you got in your mind, I'm going to be that person, I'm going to be that person, be that person. And deep back, you know you didn't want to be that person because that's not who you want to be. You probably have no idea who you want to be at that time. A lot of kids don't know who they want to be at the time. I didn't know who I want to be at that time. I mean, I was so confused after I graduated from college. I said, you know what? Let me join the military. I had no ambition to join the military before that. I didn't want to go out and deal with the mess in the world at the time. So let me go to the military. And then I found out the military was a different world and I had to deal with that mess. Fight to make a difference in the world around you, your culture. Make a difference within your culture, in your community. Keep fighting and striving to achieve a better you and keep moving forward. Even if there are so many obstacles in your way, trying to break you down, trying to bring you to your knees, trying to belittle you, trying to disvalue you, trying to get you to feel less than a person. Those are obstacles. And those obstacles usually come from another. So I go back to saying, don't be who and what someone else wants you to be. Fight for who you are. Be who you feel you are. Don't settle. A lot of issues in some of the marriages now is that one person settles to make the other person happy. Oh, I'm gonna finish college and I'm gonna let you finish college. I'm gonna help you with your law degree. I'm gonna help you in the medical field. And as you doing that, that other person is exceeding, fulfilling their goals and objectives in life. And some of the individuals who do that lose sight of the person who laid down their life so that they can live their life. So now there's a problem in the household. Or individual making decisions, not agreeing upon decisions with the other party. I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to take online courses and I'm going to go back to school and I'm going to still be working full time. Well, by the time you're ready to be involved with the family, because you're a full-time student, you're working full-time, 40 hours a week, probably more than that, depending on what the job is. and you're a full-time student taking 12 hours, 9 to 12 hours a semester, you only got 24 hours in a day. How you find time for the family if your family hadn't agreed for you to do that? So they laid down their life so you can have your life. Then after you get your life, you still want to go forward. So you're not there assisting the ones who laid down their life for you. Or you belittle the ones who laid down their life. You're useless, you don't do this, I got a degree, I got a career, blah, blah, blah. You forget that individual who laid down their life. Now the individual feels so down, feels so frustrated. Why? Because they forgot on who they were. Or if they knew who they were, they didn't fight for who they were. They settled to be who someone else wanted them to be to help the other person succeed. You cannot help another person unless you help yourself first. Remember that. It's foolish for you to lay down your life so someone else can have their life. God didn't tell you to do that. I don't care who you're worshiping, what God you're worshiping. Tell me if your God told you lay down your life for another person. Only one person laid down his life for other people. And we know who that is. And we still worship that person. But if you lay down your life for someone, another person become successful, another person forget about you, you're not going to be together. And you're not going to worship that person. And then you got to start from scratch. So you be 5, 10, 15 years behind the schedule that you wanted to be. So instead of be further along being a millionaire, you starting from scratch. And as you start from scratch, you see that it's tougher when you start later because you didn't already miss decades. So your motor skills are a little bit different as you're older. Your memory's not as sharp as it was when you was younger. That photographic memory is gone. And then you're trying to do it while you angry and bitter at the individual who you laid down your life for so they can have their life. Know who you are and fight for who you are. Fight to make a difference in the world around you, like I said. So do not be so quick to throw in the towel. I'm just going to help this person out. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to fight. Get up. Don't sit down. Don't lay down on your dreams, your desires, your ambitions. You both can fight for who you are. You both can fight for your dreams. If you meant to be, if you evenly yoke, you're going to flow together. If you're not evenly yoked, you shouldn't be together in the first place. You're not going to flow together. And if you evenly yoke, don't think you're going to flow together right away. You're going to flow together, but you're going to come together at the point that God wants you to come together. But you evenly yoke because that's your mate. If you go out and say, oh, that person look good, that person look good, that person look good, and you marry that person for looks, the body look good, you marry them for their body, and then you find out later that their mind is different. You find out later that their ways are different. You find out later that they might be controlling. They might have their dream and ambition, want to go their dream and ambition, and don't give a damn about yours. And then you talking about your dream and ambition, they shutting it down. Because you're not evenly yoked. If you evenly yoke, and you talk about your dreams, your ambition, your desires, and that individual listening to you, they talking about theirs too. So now, because you evenly yoke, you're trying to figure out how can we both do this at the same time, be successful, begin it at the same time, and finish it at the same time. Those are the ones who marry 40, 50, 60 years. Do you have turmoils in between? Yes. Do you have issues in between? Yes. Why is that? Because that's a part of life on this earth. You're going to have those issues. If you have issues in your household, you fighting with your sister and brother, do you think you're going to be real nice when you're fighting with your husband and wife? You think you're going to be real nice with them? No, you're going to have those issues too. Why? Because they came from the same background you came from. You better believe they fight with their sisters and brothers too, but they love them. They have each other's back. They believe in each other's dreams. They're at each other's graduations. They're at each other's wedding. They're there for them, no matter what. So that same person, if you evenly yoke, they're going to have your back. They're going to be there for you. They're going to question. Don't get upset when you get questioned about your beliefs and your dreams, your desire from that spouse. Don't get upset thinking that person don't want you to succeed. That person have a right to know what direction you're headed. How can they assist you if they don't know how to assist you? You cannot succeed or be successful without the help of the support from another. But if you know who you are and you fight for who you are, you know who to let in, you know who's going to be there to help you, know who's going to help you succeed. You know love from hate. You know hurt from pain. Hurt feel a lot different than pain. I said, no, that's the same feeling. No, it's different. I can stick you with a pin, that's painful. Or you can get a shot, and that's painful. You're the needle. But if someone break your heart, that's hurt. That's painful. Remember, the Bible says, the heart is a seat of your emotions. All your emotions, all your the pain flows through your heart. And as it flows through your heart, it stays in your mind. So know who you are. Fight for who you are. Fight for your dreams and goals of life. It can be very easy for us to become distracted from what is important in our lives, such as our personal ambitions or life goals. We get distracted. Okay, I'm going to work on this degree. Because I know if I'm done with this degree, I'm going to work on my degree as a veterinarian. So I know it's going to take me additional 3 to 4 years after I finish my bachelor's. But I got to stay with it. And then a year after you went to your degree, someone come along and say, okay, all right, I can give you a job paying 6 figures right now. Are you going to stay on course? Or are you going to go with that distraction and fall off? You can make 6 figures 2 years from then and have your degree. And with a degree, you start your own business. And then you're your boss. You take 6 figures then, and that person decides to have downsizing in that company, or decide they don't want to have that position, eliminate position, then you're out of job. And if you're there for 4 or 5 years, you just gave away 4 or 5 years of completing that degree when it could have been done in 2. Now it's 5 years, and you got to go back and start almost over again because you got to get back into the academic arena. Fight for who you are and do not settle. It's never a bad idea to fight just to make sure that we are doing the things that really matter to us. Life is too short to not take a chance on ourselves. Take a chance on yourself. Value yourself. I love my husband, and that's something that he wanted to do, and I don't feel it's the right time for me to do this. I slap you. Wake up. What about you? Do your husband care about you? Vice versa. If your husband is letting you go out and do it, he's at home with the kids. What about you? Don't you think life in that household would be so much easier if you both complete your goals and objectives and come together? It'll flow if you even the yoke. If you're not, you're going to fight. You'll be at each other's throat, and you're going to be attracted to another person, another issue, another situation, another thing attached to your life. And that person that you were union together with no longer exists in your life. Mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. You're just going through the method. And you know you don't want that person anymore. You don't want to be part of that person anymore because you're getting what you want. But if you know who you are and you see that person is drifting, you know when to step away. Okay, you headed that way, go. I'm not going to let you continue to bring me down. I knew and know what I wanted to do. Now it's time that I live my life. And if that person went out and did all that, you supported that person and that person became successful and it was not of God, and you decided to do it and finally step out and believe in you and trust in you and gamble on you, and you become successful, even though you started later than that person, and you'll see that person, then you meet that person a little bit later, you'll see that you stayed within the will of God. And it was for you. And it wasn't for that person. And then as you're traveling through, you meet that mate, and that mate is there. I will tell you right now, even the yoke mean partnership. That means that you are a rib to that mate. You're part of them. Partnership, not division. That means that you don't do or say whatever you want without involving that mate. If you put down that mate, you're putting down yourself because you're even the yoke. If you got one person saying, I'll let that other person do whatever they want, whatever they want. You want to go out with the girls all the time, every weekend? Go out with the girls every weekend. You want to go out with the guys every weekend? Go out with the guys every weekend. If you want to travel just with the guys, travel just with the guys. You want to travel just with the women, travel just with the women. What about together? When you have that union, and you evenly yoke, you know it's disrespectful to go outside that union without the agreement of the other. That means you don't go make plans to go to Jamaica with your boys for a week without getting approval from that other mate. You don't fly off with your girls for a week without getting approval from that mate because you even yoke. That means you're doing things together. You had time to do things separately before you got married. You had time to live that life before you got married. That's why they tell you to live your life. Be who you are. Know who you are. Fight for who you are. Because when you become union, remember that. Remember that union. What did it say when you tied that knot? It said, two become what? Two become one. Two become one. That means you are one. So you don't disrespect the other by still trying to do the things you did when you was two. All that spending time with your guys, spending time with your girls, that's over. You are one. If your wife allow you to go spend a little bit of time with that person, you're not doing it every day. You're not doing it every weekend. You might do it once every 6 months. If that husband allowed that wife to go, you're not doing it every day. Not doing it every weekend, probably once every 6 months. Don't just take off and just go because you said this is my life. It's not your life anymore. You're not two. You are one. And when it says two become one and you say I do, that means two became one. Two became one. Everything you do together. You raise those kids together. You support those kids together. If it's a blended family, you're no longer two. You one. You raise those kids together. If those kids are adult and those kids believe in you, they're going to believe in your kids. Then they're going to have a relationship with your kids. Don't force that upon those kids. Because if you do that, that means you're two. But if you let it flow, because you're one, and that child respect you, they're going to respect that child. And then that blended family becomes a family. One thing the child don't want to be done to in a blended family is forced to do something that they're not ready to do. When they're ready to communicate with the other side, they will. But it's not about the parents forcing that to happen. It's about the parents being a model for that to happen. And how that model is done, two becomes one. And when you become one, that means the other person already know who you are. The other person believes in who you are. The other person respect who you are. You don't have to tell that person who you are, what you want, the dreams you have, all that bullshit. They already know. The other person trusts in you. So when you break that trust because you was two and you one, men, women understand this. You become one. That means that heart is mended. There's no longer two different hearts. It's one heart. And when you hurt that heart, it's very painful to that individual that you hurt. And there might not be no coming back. It might just be, let's separate. I cannot get over this pain. I see you all the time. No reason to cheat. You got something right there. That person hasn't changed. That person's still the same. Unless they decide to change themselves. And they decide to change themselves and you won, and that person not being part of that team, that means you're not even a yoke. Fight for your beliefs. You should fight for what you believe in. If you think something is right, then do it. Be the change that will happen to this world, even if things might become tough along the way. Remember, I said the two is one. So as I'm speaking now, saying fight for your beliefs, it's belief that the both of you have. It's belief for your family. It's belief for your kids. It's belief and strength for the people around you. Fight for your beliefs. Don't let an outsider come in and tell you what you believe in. Don't let an outsider come in and tell you what you should or should not be doing. Listen to that mate. You are one. Stop closing your ears. Thinking that person don't know what they're talking about. Think that person haven't lived your past life. That's your past life. That was your life before that mate. That was that life before that union. That life before God made a connection to become one. That means one voice, not two voices. If you have disagreement in a household, you make sure things are straight before you leave that household. And if you're talking to someone outside that household, both of you are in agreement. So you're not saying one thing, and the other person saying something else. They think that's not a union in that household. Or that agreement is not between the both of you. If that's happening, and happening on a regular basis, that means you're not even the yoke. That means you need to go ahead and kill that and stop prolonging it. Because you prolong it, it's going to continue to get bad, and then you're going to end up resenting each other. You should not be afraid of putting yourself out there and making a difference, because sometimes it takes one person to make a difference. Fight for who you are. But first, know who you are. I thank you. I appreciate you. Subscribe to me. Until we meet again, God bless you. And goodbye.